I want to talk about, um, these messy, this whole far-fetched election results that's going on, and why is it literally taking forever to declare the winner, despite the fact that uh, these hacks on the left-wing media are already declaring creepy Jim Crow Joe as the winner of this particular election. What's up, America? It's your boy Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. So we can already see. I think we all know this whole election thing. This recent election is nothing more. Is literally a big mess. It's literally a big mess, and I'll tell you why. Because literally, there's been ton. If you look at it, there's been tons of fraudulent voting that's been going on. And me personally, being a Trump supporter, mind you guys, uh, I'm literally not shocked or surprised at this because the Democrats literally have been no have been notorious for rigging elections and cheating. I said this a while back that the only way the Democrats would win elections nowadays is through cheating and rigging. So the truth of the matter is, I'm not surprised. Being the Trump supporter that I am, I'm not surprised to witness it because we already knew that this was going on. Now, even in the past, uh, this was even evident too because election, you know, when Democrats get in power, they're going to try to create rules and create rules and regulations where they could get away with if they break the rules. Well, if you're a Republican, you pretty much would suffer the consequences, which is a big double standard. I mean, believe it or not. And I will say this: Washington is totally broken. Um, our electoral system here in America is broken, and as a matter of fact, it's been broken for God Himself knows how long. I mean, and I'm also going on record and say this. Now, yeah, when I voted Democratic back in 2008, when Barack Hussein O was president, I mean, was running for president, even then, yes, I knew elections were rigged. You know, even when I voted, and I would also say that, I mean, this this is nothing new. I mean, I will say this once and for all. This recent election um, that that took place, this is worse, like a million times worse than the Florida recount from 20 years ago when Al Gore and W were running for president at the time. Now, now the end result was that W ended up winning that election. I was not a fan of W back then, even though I was only 14 years old at the time when W won that election. Um, but that election was obviously fair and square, believe it or not. know I'm going to get a lot of trolls on this video trying to trash talk me because I'm supposedly signing with you know what, but whatever. And I will say this: as far as this election goes, uh, let me say this verbatim. This election was all about this whole orange man bad BS. It was not about voting for. I mean, people didn't vote for. People didn't really vote for Joe Biden. They really voted against Donald Trump because simply because they they don't like him. They don't like the guy. And I'm gonna also set the record straight. When it came to the key, when it came to the key states in this past election, it was literally, I mean, literally, there was a whole lot of shenanigans going on, especially here in the state where I live in, with Wisconsin, because I can guarantee you this. Like, I live in Madison, which is a Democrat stronghold, unfortunately. Um, so obviously here in Madison and over in Milwaukee, obviously Milwaukee's another Democrat stronghold. Yeah, there's been a whole bunch of voter fraud and a whole bunch of other shenanigans that's been going on in those two states. Believe it or I mean, in those two cities. Believe it or not. And and I will say this. Keep this in mind. 2 years ago, in the gubernatorial election here in Wisconsin, our current governor Tony Evers apparently won via election fraud. I mean, via voter fraud. Um, and the truth of the matter is, it was still shenanigans going on in Madison and Milwaukee, uh, which obviously, like I said, those two cities in the state of Wisconsin are heavily Democrat strongholds. But this election is shady. It's a sham, you know. And but I will also say this: it should be no surprise because uh, this was going this was literally bound to happen. Um, I mean, yeah, there are Trump supporters out there who are nervous and worried, and literally who are afraid how this thing would turn out. And literally now that they're I don't blame President Trump, you know, and all these and every other Trump supporter that's out here that are fighting back on this, because if you look at it, we're tired of we're tired of. I mean, we need election. I mean, we need integrity in our elections. You know, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We need fairness in our elections, and it doesn't matter if it's even if a Democrat were to win fair and square. Like, I will say this: Barack Hussein O was elected and reelected fair and square. Um, I mean, 2016, Donald Trump won the election fair and square. I mean, not from that, not from that whole Russian collusion BS that the media and the left constantly have brought up. It was nonsense, and that crap was being debunked. And then when you also look at it, you know, the impeachment was of Trump was really by the left was really a phony disaster. You know, it was phony. But yeah, I'm not trip. I don't know about you, but I'm not tripping over this. You know, as a Trump supporter, I'm not tripping over this. I mean, this whole election result thing because believe it or not, it was bound to happen, like I just said. But right now, the whole this whole election fraud fiasco thing is going to be taken to the Supreme Court. It's already, and once it's taken to the Supreme Court, very likely Trump might win this thing because I will say this because the left literally wanted wanted to get rid of Trump so bad, and that's been going on since 2016. As a matter of fact, 2015 when he announced his run for presidency, when he was walking down, when he was coming down the escalator of Trump Tower. But it's just, but this time around, I, everybody knew that there was going to be a whole bunch of shenanigans going on with this election around, especially with voter fraud. I mean, with mail-in voting. The question, the question is, the thing is this: when it comes to mail-in voting, that was going to be the big problem when it comes to the integrity of our elections. That was going to be a big problem. I mean, that was going to cause voter fraud. I mean, believe it or not. And people called it out beforehand. It it's literally unconstitutional. I mean, the truth of the matter the truth of the matter is this. If your ass can go to the grocery store or to any other place, then your ass can go to the polling place and vote. Straight up. Now, but even then, before the election came about, I was the one who said, vote your conscience. And yeah, I'm just saying this, I'm not worried about this election, and neither I should be surprised about how this turnout's going to be, especially if, God forbid, uh, even though the media obviously called this that creepy Jim Crow Joe um, was declared winner of the election. You know, I don't think anybody is buying it. You know, I mean, especially, I don't think anybody with a brain is buying it. But if God forbid it comes out to be that way, um, yeah, shouldn't be surprised. And America, if we end up with a Biden Kamala presidency, you know, one thing's for sure, I am afraid Civil War II is imminent.